the artists, looking at their work, giving an explanation of what they've done and their thought process through that. And we'll then give you about 45 minutes to have a look around, have a coffee, just reflect and stuff like that. And then we will head down to the cinema, where we'll have a discussion, which will kind of be us talking to each other, and then if you have any questions for us, we'll do that there. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you for coming. This has been an incredible exhibition and an incredible project that myself, these incredible artists, are both of them, have been working on. It came from the creation of something beyond working on. So there was a bit of funding which came from the Welsh Government as part of the anti-racism action plan. The Welsh Government, the Arts Centre and Arts Council funding a project called Perspectives, and then that project was split between the museums in Wales and arts organisations. So from that, myself and Neil created this programme and this project, and then about a year and a half into the project, we invited the amazing artists to join us and to pick up and to interact with different workshops. A lot of my work that I did for this project is a mixture of old stuff and new stuff. I really wanted to allow the artists who came on for their work really to show, to shine, and to really let their experience of the project come through in this. So I kind of took a step back in terms of creating work for the project. So there is a mixture of different mediums. I consider myself a multidisciplinary artist. I love printmaking, I love cyanotyping, but I also really enjoy kind of like more tactile mediums, like clay and stuff like that. But I'm very much a visual artist. I've actually been exploring a little bit of performance recently. So I just go through my work. I'll just put a warning out there. This piece actually has this name, so I want everyone before I tell it. This piece is called Mindfuck, and it was during a time where I was doing a lot of dissociation and mental illness, so I just really wanted to explore modern printing as a process of looking at that fracture of the mind. And then the particular one, this is quite a new piece that I got commissioned from the National Library to do as part of their decolonisation project, which were looking at artefacts from their collections which were related to colonialism or to enslaved people. And the artefact that I got were plantation maps of Jamaica. And you know, my heritage is Jamaican, but my lived experience is very much within the UK and within English and British culture and Welsh culture since I moved here. So when I got those maps, I really kind of looked at them, and, you know, it made me feel, you know, negative. I get those negative feelings when it comes to looking at, you know, colonial pieces as a person of colour. And it really made me think about the fact that a lot of the project work, a lot of the commissions that we get as artists of colour are expecting us to deal with that trauma. And so I really just kind of sat back and I went, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to celebrate what I love and my experiences being in agriculture and being in nature and being in Wales, and that was living up in Country de Groes, in the middle of nowhere, bus twice a week, 3 times a day, I think that was it. And you know, having that adventure into nature by choice, you know, not being forced to work and to labour, to enjoy the green area that was surrounded by me. So this was based off a photograph my dad took of my brothers, and I transposed it into this piece, which is called Stepping Stones, as a way of moving forward as to how we look at decolonising processes and stuff like that. And then moving forward, this is, like I said, a lot of my work kind of deals with themes of identity and self-expression and especially during times when I was dealing with mental illness. These two are a triptych, sorry, not a triptych, a diptych, I think it's called these two, which I created whilst experimenting with dark pigment. So this black that was used on it is called the blackest black, so it's actually absorbs something like 98% of light. So it's very dark compared to most blacks that you would use. So it's kind of that juxtaposition between the positioning of people of colour and the kind of light they shine, and the imagery of, kind of how we portray ourselves. And I always look for the eyes. Eyes are something that I always go back to within my work. So this one's called The Observer, and this one is called Control. And then this bottom one was based off a performance piece that I was experimenting with, which I then overlaid images on paper. Since paper is actually like a plasticky paper, so you use alcohol ink with it, and it kind of pulls out, which is interesting. And so these pieces are kind of what I'm most known for. I do a lot of cyanotyping, which is the same process which they used to make blueprints out of. So it's a chemical process which uses two chemicals and then sunlight to develop images. Again, I've always been interested in kind of psychiatry and the way mind and image puts together. So a lot of my work with references to Rorschach's or to just displacement of mind. And then these final pieces again are something that I did in the last couple of years. These were during a period when I was experimenting with auto drawing, which is basically just putting pen to paper and just seeing what happens with it. It's something that I've always wanted to be quite calculated when I normally paint. So it was a brand new experience for me to actually just let go of that conscious mind and just type and just draw and just see what happens with it. Very much inspired by Dadaism. So if you don't know what it is, go Google Dadaism because it's a very interesting movement. So that's just a little bit about the work that I've done for this show. I'm hoping that some more shows like this will come up in the future that really shows the diversity of art within Wales. And I'm going to now pass on to Munise.
Hi everyone. So my name is Abid, and this is my work all in one. I think this work is about making painting accessible. So it's so you can, most of the time we go to galleries and paintings, it's a complicated process how to do painting, but I think I'm a multimedia artist, so I was exploring painting on this project. So I think my intention was making it so simple, but also so deep at the same time, so I can find some sort of creative satisfaction. So it's repetition in the form of value, number one. And it changes from one mark to another value in terms of pigment value. So I was changing from darker black to lighter, and each value represents one human being. And my intention was kind of not putting my visual existence on my work, because I feel like I see that kind of act as a creative person, putting full stop on my work. So I like to keep my work open as much as I can. So I was trying to, I think it's a complicated idea, multiplicity. I was looking at multiplicity through the medium of mathematics, but also philosophy. And yeah, I feel like if I am one of these values, then all I was trying to do is reaching what happened behind, before me, what's before me and what's after me, kind of thing. So, like for example, people in this room, we have more pigment and less pigment in our value, in our body, and that represents the same idea that all in one kind of thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, really enjoy making this work. It's very therapeutic, dabbing these stamps on one by one. I really enjoy this opportunity and to take this work. So keep developing this work. There is no mistake. I was so committed to this work. And I was making sure that I'm paying attention to each mark as I'm dealing with one human being at one time. So there was this intense relationship while making this work, very performative in the studio. So yeah, so that was my work. Thank you.
Thanks, Abid. I am Elena. Try not to sweat so much that this is my artwork. I am a collage artist, my piece, it really stuck with the theme of multiplicity in my mind. Like, it was about how we're all made of multitudes. It's an incredibly personal piece, but I think it also speaks to the multitudes that we have in ourselves and our multiplicities. I've always thought of myself as having quite a kind of mixed, muddled, all over the place kind of background. Got mixed heritage. I moved around a lot. I lived in 15 houses when I was 15. I come to Wales and I've been here for 15 years. And so there was something about this piece for me which was about what it is to root and what rooting is and what the various ways of rooting are. And understanding that I've got roots that spread way out far back into various ancestries, various heritages. That very kind of literally are in the ground in the ways that I've kind of rooted myself in place. And then also kind of really not wanting to deny the politics of our existence, I suppose. So that we're all entangled in this, and I feel it particularly coming from a mixed heritage as well, like the colonizer and the colonized. The ways in which we're all entangled in complexities of our shared human histories, so that we're all part of something that's really gross and also really beautiful at the same time, so that we get to dream in amongst the mess, we get to dream in amongst everything that's horrible. Something about utopias in dystopia, how we can make beauty in life and grow and spread and save in amongst all the icky bits. And I started with, I'll just speak about the chiff-chaff, because I love the chiff-chaff. The little bird that's really flipping loud. You know it goes like, chiff-chaff, chiff-chiff, and it migrates to West Africa. I just find that incredible, and I thought it kind of spoke to, in a very cheesy way, something of all of us being here, being loud, being in our existence, and the connections that we have in multiple places. I could say loads because, oh my god, there's so many little tiny details I've spent a really long time on, I'm going to chat to you. I am passing on to Dela.
I often go to exhibitions and I really want to touch the work of my life, so I brought a little piece of silk. And I also brought a little scene that I made to go with the work. I'll start from the beginning. So this is a series I made called Although I Did Not Live on St. Paul's Avenue, which is the name of the street where my grandparents lived in Barron. So, yeah, they were immigrants from Jamaica and we moved to Wales in the 60s. I spent a lot of time in their house when I was really little, so this series is kind of based on memories that I've had from spending time in their house. You can come a bit closer if you want to, so you can see stuff and not just me, but yeah, so the reason I decided to work on silk, I've been lino printing for a while, but I'd usually worked on paper. So I decided to work on silk on this project because I found a photo of my nan, my Jamaican nan, wearing a silk scarf that I'd also seen a picture of her mum wearing in Jamaica, and I just thought it was really sweet, and it made me think about the connections between I guess like different generations of the family, and like what we pass on to younger relatives, and it made me reflect a bit on like what would I pass on if I had children about my family, and it just got me reflecting on like little memories and snippets of things that I think often get forgotten. So yeah, I kind of focused in on little details like just remembering that the gas fire was always on, like, you know, the summertime, that's like a core memory, and just like little objects that I remember from around their house. So yeah, there's like a little detail in this piece of work called When the Right Time Comes. That's like a love recipe. It's just like a really corny thing that they have in their house. But I wanted to capture that sort of thing that I think that it just feels so small and insignificant unless you make something about them. They just get forgotten. And also things like the shower gel or the bath soap that my grandma used when she used to bath me. So it's just like such a core memory. It was the purple grey dots, very specifically. So I wanted to incorporate little details like that in the work. So yeah, this one is my grandpa asleep in his armchair in front of the TV. And then this is my grandma bathing me upstairs. And then these ones are very much linked to my grandpa as well. So he loved the races and betting. So this one on the left is called I Was Born a Winner, and it's just like what he would bring back from the betting shop, because me and my cousins would just entertain ourselves for hours with like the little blue pens that you got from William Hill. And it's like the little betting slips that like almost make like a monoprint when you write on them. So it's like receipt paper. So you write and then you get like an impression on the underside. So that's like endless fun. And I just love looking at like the names of the racing horses in the paper as well, and watching them on the TV. I think I liked animals, I liked horses, I really get the betting side of things. And he'd always have little bags of coins as well. So yeah, I just included like those little details that just make the memories really vivid for me. And yeah, this last piece it's just a scene from like the hallway in their house. So I remember them having like massive yellow pages, which is just like something we don't really see anymore. Thompson's local directory, a net curtain, and there was always a pot of Dax, which is like it's like a very specific like Afro-Caribbean hair product. It's like very waxy and has a really specific smell. And yeah, my grandpa would just leave a pot by the phone as if it's like, I don't know, he forgot to put some on before he left the house. It's like right there. So yeah, I just wanted to capture little things like that, and yeah, it's quite nice to immortalize these memories a little bit, I think, by working with them in my art. So yeah, thanks for listening. If you have questions, then yeah, I'm around, so let me know.
Hello, I'm Dela. So I've got a few works scattered around. There's this large installation piece, a little vessel over there, some ceramics, and the jumper that's actually behind Gareth at the moment is also one of my works. So when I was making the application for Multiplicity, it said on the brief that the theme was belonging. So I kind of sat with that for a little while and realised that I just felt really triggered by the word belonging. I did this like little kind of brainstorming about what was going on inside of me and what arose from the word belonging. And I discovered that it was all negative, sadly. So I think that my way of talking about belonging was talking about what it feels like to not belong. And I think Elena touched briefly on the experience of being a mixed heritage person and that kind of strange place that we inhabit of kind of being in between worlds in quite a lot of ways. I'm also a late diagnosed neurodivergent person, so I'm autistic and ADHD. So kind of part of my journey of understanding that aspect of myself has been about thinking about kind of reframing my past of this experience of not belonging, but seeing it in a new light. So for this installation piece, I decided to first of all base it on my own personal experiences, because I feel like in a lot of European art history we've kind of quite recklessly appropriated a lot of stuff, other people's cultures, other people's stories, quite often the male gaze, looking at women, and so I didn't really want to be part of a continuation of that story, and I thought how the best way to do that was to talk about things that I knew were true in my own world and my own life. So I took various experiences from my life, and kind of these were all part of them. So the figure feeling alone in a kind of abandoned space, and this kind of confusion of clay and sticks above it represent both the internal experience of not belonging, but also the experience I think that maybe lots of people have of being in a really confusing world with a lot of information, especially negative information, how we take that inside of us, how we try and make sense of all of that. On the hangings, there's various statistics, and all the statistics are things that groups that I fit into, so I guess that they are about belonging in a way, but they're all marginalised groups, and they're all experiences that are about difficult periods in people's lives. So lots of them are about suicide, and the thing that I kind of discovered through the process of making this work was that things that feel like experiences that you feel like you're having on your own are actually experiences that many people are having on their own. So in a way, they're also experiences that, if we find ways to talk about them, can bring about a sense of connection and about a sense of belonging. And through the process of making the work, I think I also discovered that a story, which for me is a story about one person's experience, is actually part of a much bigger social experience, and it's something that our society is maybe helping to create in certain sectors of the community. So I think we talk a lot about, like with Black Lives Matter, we talk about police brutality being imposed on certain groups, but through making the work I kind of thought, well, it's really easy to see when a person is murdered, that was done to a person. But when we talk about suicide, we kind of see it as something that a person has chosen. And I think that actually it's not a choice, it's just another form of murder quite often. So that's what I learned. Very happy, I'm afraid. Moving on very briefly, there are some slightly more positive effects here, I'm glad to say. We worked with the mentors, and we had a lovely ceramics couple of workshops, and we did some intuitive ceramics. And what came out of that for me was about how the ways in which I see women kind of showing up for each other. Kind of more recently, that a lot of us are aware of how kind of we get stuck in our own little nuclear families, raising our families on our own, and we're trying to find new ways of finding connection amongst women and to change what being a woman looks like in society. So there's some very loving women there reaching out towards each other. There's a little piece here which is about neurodivergence, about special interests. So some of my special interests are working in natural materials, and there's a bit of bee comb in there, feather from my chickens, some little toys that my children have made, and also in amongst all of these natural materials are some bits of plastic which kind of represent the hyperfixation of shopping and food and convenience, which are all parts of our lives, and that kind of complicated struggle that we're all trying to find about how we live a good life that looks after the world, looks after ourselves, but we all just want a bit of convenience as well. Am I the last speaker? I believe I am. I haven't mentioned my jumper, but the jumper is there. As we can talk more about that later if it comes up. Thank you.
Okay, so we have about 10-15 minutes that push. If you want to have any quick engagement with the artist, try and keep your burning questions for the talk in the cinema. But yeah, get a coffee, come for a chat, and then we'll see you in the cinema broadcast downstairs at the very back. You'll see all the cinema stuff, or just follow us about 10 minutes. Okay, thank you.